panel session for you the rest of the day. This is why I just like to have fun with you, to be honest with you. And our next panel discussion is going to be on technology is taking over, but one thing that shouldn't change is customer-centric thinking. As a matter of fact, the average consumer is looking to more and more brands to produce meaningful experiences, provide authenticity and relevance. Please welcome Jeannette, Nagy, owner of co-founder and CEO of Iron Dome Crisis Management, to the stage. Hi, Jeannette. And coming along with her are panelists Maria Frangieh, founder and CEO of Socialprise, Adan Ali, account executive from Ogilvy. I always struggle with that one, apologies. And Nikita Prokhorov, he's back once again. The Renegade Master, founder and CEO of Reputation House. Fantastic, guys. And just flick your microphones on if they've been switched off, and I'll hand it over to you. Thank you so much.
So, are we ready? Guys, I'm happy that you are still alive. I will tell you one story. Me and my beautiful colleague Jeannette, we were looking for moderator of this section. And when we tried to find moderators of session, organizers of conference told us, you will be moderators. You're ready. Okay, first of all, to sum up, we are going to talk which main challenges can be faced by any brand. And I suppose that it will be correct if we start with just a short sum up about all of our speakers, just few words about ourselves. Guys, why we are here and which useful things can we bring to you? Okay, introduce.
Hi, I'm Adan. I'm currently an account executive at Ogilvy. My job is to make brands matter, and that's why I'm here.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Maria. I'm the founder and CEO of Socialprise, so we help brands digitize.
Hi, I'm Jeannette. Whenever you've got crisis, you call me. I push you out. So I'm founder and CEO of Iron Dome Crisis Management. And yeah, that's enough for this moment.
Okay, glad to see you all. I'm still Nikita Prokhorov. No changings. I'm still guru of reputation, and if you want to suppress something out of Google, out of Yahoo, call me. Okay, let's start. We all are marketers, but I hope most of us are marketers. And we try to do good business for good people, and we help to good people create great services. But we all face some issues. For example, our clients can be unhappy. Our clients can post bad reviews, bad articles about us, and we find such issue. We are trying to do something great, something good, but our brand can't become rich. Our sales don't increase. Maybe that's why I'm a reputation master. That is why I create good reputation for businesses. But in my point of view, one of main challenges now is unhappiness of our clients and bad reviews on different websites. Maybe you can start on your point of view. Which challenges and which troubles can be faced by brands nowadays?
In terms of clients or just like brands in general?
In both ways.
In both ways. So I mean, I think for brands, like we've been talking about a lot about digital media and like traditional media in the sense. I think just straddling the lines of keeping the traditional touch points alive at the same time transitioning into a digital sphere, I think is a big challenge for most brands I see, and also at the same time staying original to their true purpose as defined digital touch points for their consumers, and also keeping clients happy. I mean, clients will never be happy. They're paying the big bucks. It is how it is. But I think just being empathetic to your client's needs, I think is very crucial to any client satisfaction and driving their business forward in the way they want.
Okay, so I'd say budget. Even largest brands have issues with budgets. Like prices of ads online, prices of digital services are increasing like crazy. So they really cannot handle it that much after the pandemic. They are facing a lot of trouble to know how to allocate their budget in between their internal resources and how much to dedicate to online, also how to go back, you know, to the physical space, because they need to engage in events, they need to pay influencers, they need to budget for online ads and offline ads, and that's a lot for them to handle. I'd also say having the skills to actually be able to know what they want, because there has been a lot of shift throughout the pandemic. So changing to online, then going back, you know, to the phygital phase that we are going through is also a challenge. And I'd say keeping a client happy. I'd second what you said, but I'd also say that it's good sometimes to let go of some clients because you don't see eye to eye. It's totally fine. You will have a good relationship with other clients. It's fine if you don't have the same objectives, and then things would be sometimes much better.
I thank you for your realistic approach. Happiness, clients,
No,
budgets,
yes,
money.
yes, it is.
I suppose that you guys all have enough budgets, right? We all are rich guys. And speaking about big brands,
Yes, it's exactly about big brands.
Uh-huh.
Luxury brands today are struggling like crazy because they didn't sell during the pandemic.
and low-coster brands,
If they actually digitized during the pandemic, they were ready. They are booming right now. If they didn't, then they're struggling at the level of selling because they didn't know what to do. They didn't have a website. They didn't have the skills. So today they couldn't sell, and they're still struggling.
I'm glad that we all marketers have something in common. We all like budgets.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Good. So, in my opinion, which the main challenge is for brand are fast-moving content and attention. So we have to always check the issues from our brand. So what issues are current? Does an issue affect my brand? And how can I interact if a brand gets damaged? And what actions do I need to prepare? So the most of us, the most common instrument is to a professional issue management. So to tracking all the issue all the time in real time best, so you can media monitoring all the time globally and track the issues. And don't forget social listening. Don't forget to track the discussion on Twitter, on Facebook, and so on. There are really good systems today on the market. So yes, at least with an alerting by negative media news in real time, yeah, so that's normal all day.
Okay. Actually, we have started our next question. What should we do if our brand has faced some crises? I would like to start because maybe you would like to start. Okay, because brands in crisis, it's my favorite situation, and I like this moment because they all my typical clients. I suppose you have the same, use the same. Guys, we are bad guys. We like brands in crises, right? Okay, we solve these crises with a strategy of online reputation management, and it contains four things. First of all, like my colleagues has already said, social listening. There are several social monitoring systems. We are not going to advertise somebody now, but you can find them in the Google. But there are services, it's kind of big brothers, which pick up every mentions in the web in almost real-time mode, in Twitter and Google. And the most interesting thing is that consumers don't really need to tag brand. Social monitoring system will find it anyway. Then we will face some negative mentions. It's okay, negative is okay. And if you get some negative reviews and negative mentions, it is great because it means two things. First of all, you have some business, and second thing, you have some clients. If you haven't still gotten any bad comments, bad news, maybe you don't have clients. So what can we do with the negative? We can try to communicate them as a representative for brand, or we can try to delete it. Just remember one thing, almost 80% of all mentions on the internet can be deleted. Third issue, and unfortunately most marketers don't want to think about it. Nobody wants to create positive information about brands. If brand don't care about creation of positive, nobody will do it instead of you. And the last issue is SERM, search engine reputation management. you must fulfill Google and Yandex with positive content, because it is the fastest way to hide your crisis. And yes, you solve crisis later, but first of all, you must take care about your clients. They should find only positive and good information about it. It's my point of view. Maybe my clients, my colleagues have other ideas about it. Any ideas? You can do everything.
Yeah. May I just a bit disagree somewhere, because in the phase where everything needs to be positive, it looks like a beautiful utopic world, and it's not actually the reality. As you said, having negative reviews is really good, because this means that the business is held by human beings, and human beings make errors, and that's good. But it's all about how we face that. So going there and apologizing for a mistake we've done, handling it the right way. I don't know if it was a deficient product, then we can ask for it back. So this shows that there is a brand that cares about its customers, and if any mistake happens, this is where we are there to answer. But I'd also say that it's not only about that, it's also how the brand interacts with it. And maybe sometimes you need to listen to actually, you always need to listen to the clients, because when they say there's something wrong, then there is actually something wrong, and it's going to escalate. So why not really listen and take this as an opportunity, because someone is there telling you, and then take their number and talk to them and see what's wrong and fix it so that this doesn't happen again. So I'd see this as an opportunity as well.
I'd also like to add that whenever there's a crisis, we as marketers generally just go in our survival shell and think of it only as a fight or flight response. But in like you said, it's more important to listen to your clients, listen to understand why that crisis happened, and then also to find a story in that crisis. Find a story, link it back, then create your own, and then drive the narrative forward. Your way out of the crisis. So
Okay, we have faced trouble. We have created the whole story, and we know the source of trouble. What to do then? And
Well,
then
if it doesn't work, I mean, there are two ways. Sometimes there's an attack, and that's when we really need to come to you. But sometimes there's an actual problem with a product or service that a brand needs to address. Otherwise, it will go out of business. So it depends on the situation. It's not really like black and white.
and if it
What
is
would you
gray,
recommend?
if it is gray, what to do then?
Then what would you recommend?
I have already described my strategy. First of all, in my opinion, we should create a kind of tone of voice. It's a point of view of brand, how to communicate, who will communicate, why should we communicate. Sometimes we don't actually need to do anything, because I have discussed it with speaker from our yesterday conversations. There was a very cool lady about psychological marketing, and we find a very interesting idea that sometimes people create negative about brand just because they have too much free time. And if when people have such too much free time, they start to do sometimes very stupid things, unfortunately. So, and after that, yes, social listening, monitoring, dealing with negative, creation of positive, and search engine reputation management. Okay, your ideas?
Absolutely. So we should not forget not only our client, but also the communities, the clients of our clients, the communities, the media, the influencer, all that people, all that meanings are very, very, very important.
Okay. So question. Okay, I will start our next question.
Yeah.
Guys, we are here in Dubai, but we almost all, are from different countries. Eastern Europe, even Northern America, Africa, Asia. Maybe there is somebody from Southern America, maybe. But of course, we all want to work with global brands, with huge brands, with great brands. But sometimes it's very tough for global brands to penetrate to local market, because almost every country has its own players, its own social networks, its own search engines, and maybe even local players. When I spend my time in the United States, I use Uber Eats, Instamart. When I arrived here, Tela, but where is Uber? Karim, and other local players. And sometimes brands really don't know how to penetrate to local market and how to become maybe some kind of local. Which experience do you have about it?
Yeah, so I think first you should test your market. So culturally adaptive communication is the key. And yeah, it's a game to finding out what the person want. And also the internal communication between you and your employees. Then yeah, diverse backgrounds from these employees. And yeah, it's also important. What does your customer need? What yeah, and because they are also the key for you, and yeah, buyers, um, distributors, and because these stakeholders became advocates from your brand. And so it's very important to listening, to find out what they want. And yeah, so yeah, paying attention to their language, terms, and even tone of voice. What do you say? And yeah, that's it.
Okay.
I think I'd go from the stakeholders. Basically, finding the right stakeholders would help you enter the market easily. So when they are aware of what the customers needs, this really saves you half of the time and half of the trial and error you have. So I mean, collaborating with the right stakeholders and being flexible as well as a brand. So you cannot just come with what you have and say, this is what I have, and forget about everyone else in the market. It's all about being flexible and agile to really match the needs of these people, because they are a different culture and you might need as well to offer new products. So having the right stakeholders would be very, very supportive.
Stakeholders, budgets again, right?
Of course, of course. It's all about budgets. I mean, when you're in Dubai, you'd spend, 10 times the amount of any advertising budget you'd have in any other country. It's also about the number of people that are available online. So the number of people here are way less compared to KSA in Egypt. So it's really very different in terms of cost.
I agree. I have already relocated several employees here to Dubai, and now I suppose it was not best idea.
Yes,
Okay.
I'll just summarize it with everything everyone has said. So you mentioned how over here you have to do Talabat and Careem instead of Uber and Uber Eats like in the US. But at the end of the day, both of those companies are global. They're part of a global network. Careem owned by Uber, Talabat is owned by Delivery Hero. But they're also perfect examples of how they leverage stakeholders, like you mentioned here, and then penetrated the market using the tone of voice of this market. So Talabat uses a tone of voice that's very Arab. So is Careem. And then they also are trying to address pain points of this market. They understand that it's an expat-driven market. There are needs of expats that need to be met. At the same time, locals have different needs compared to the networks globally. So I think like just looking at Talabat, Careem, examples of successful brands in this region that have grown in this region organically is also a great stepping stone for your own brand when you think to penetrate into a market like this.
Okay. Actually, when I see myself in schedule in this panel discussion, I was going to argue with you, but you still haven't offered me any option where can we argue. But we will try, I promise.
It's probably because we work a lot in the region.
I like your idea about budgets. Now I'm thinking only about budgets. It's the main challenging for any brand. I can tell you about my experience. First of all, I see that there is one very interesting issue. It's local social networks and local search engines. When we work, especially with Eastern Europe, it is another internet. It's not like Internet 203, it's just another internet. Because there is local search engine, not Google. There is local social network like
And
VKM, ВКонтакте, and Одноклассники and some other social networks. I suppose maybe you haven't even heard about it, but in some countries they are much popular than Facebook and Google. And for me, my main social network is actually LinkedIn, not Facebook. But when I ask some guys in Eastern Europe, add my friends LinkedIn. Where? LinkedIn. LinkedIn. Yes, LinkedIn. What's that? Forget about it. Facebook, Instagram, and again and again. And there is one very interesting issue. All these local social networks have their own tone of voice and typical strategy. Because I have seen several local blogging platforms and several local social networks where people still post very long posts with 3 or 4 thousand symbols. Guys, are you really do it? Yes. And what about Twitter? Oh, Twitter too short for us. We want to create great text. Yesterday I saw a panel discussion about social networks. Forget about text. Reels, YouTube shorts. Some countries still prefer very long posts. And my main idea, it is a very great strategy to maybe even check local panel discussion, local conferences, because maybe you will find a lot of interesting facts about local internet, and it will cause you some interesting idea about how to do a market on local markets. And I have also find at least 2 countries which don't have Coca-Cola because they have their own soft drinks. And I suppose maybe Coca-Cola have penetrated their own local brand to these markets. But it can be really miracle for brands that they are going global, and maybe there are no global brands of these markets, so they will have to adapt to these markets. Yep.
Yeah, so I heard that Coca-Cola has also different recipe.
Yep.
So yeah, good. Um, Perhaps it's also important to know about the history of some countries and what a brand's name really, yeah, perhaps a name from a brand has another name in this country. And yeah, this could be difficult. Do you have experience?
I do. I actually have a client that works in selling used cars, and in Turkey they had to change their name because that had copyrights, and they had no choice. And it's all over the internet, although it's spelled in a different way. But they had no other choice. And then we had to do the rebranding all over again, and then we had to do, you know, the search engine optimization, different keywords, and linking, because it's the only country where we're using a different, completely different name, and it's spelled different. So yes, it's difficult, but it's also very challenging. It's nice. It's good to understand, you know, different cultures, and you get to see how you can change the perception. But it's a very interesting challenge, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, next question. Maybe you would like to answer it? Yeah. Start.
So, which possibility do you have to build your brand in a digital world?
What, can you repeat the word?
Yeah. So, which possibility do you have to build a brand in the digital world?
I think like before you explore like a possibility in the digital world, it's very important to first like take a step back, see what your brand is, and then find the right touch point for your brand in the digital world. I have an example from one of my clients, which mainly deals with water and electricity conservation, but they came up to us at the agency and they're like, how about we come up with an NFT for one of our events? And we were like, hang on, wait a second. Do you understand that NFTs are like detrimental to the environment, and you have to understand how NFT works before you even think of having an NFT for your event, because it's not going to look good on your brand. So that's a client that completely forgot that what their own brand stands for. So as a steward of the brand, before you obviously lead them into like a fancy buzzwordy digital sphere, it's important to remind them what their brand stands for. So I think it's extremely important for any brand to first see what they stand for, because there are now a million different touch points in the digital space. So like, is a reel right for you? Is an NFT the way to go? Is just having a storefront online the right solution for you? So there's just so many digital solutions, but it's very important for brands to first like introspect what they stand for, and then find the right touch point and go forward.
I think it's like the possibilities are really endless, but at second, what you said, it's all about understanding who you are, but it's also really knowing how far you want your brand to go. So sometimes you really forget why I'm here. Not to mention the values, but also what's my goal? I'm like, this is a bottle of water. The aim is to serve people who run in conferences, people who are at the office, and then suddenly you want to serve others who are at the beach, but your bottle is not made for that, and you forget it. So you either need to have like a reality check sometime, and this is where your agency helps you out. But it could also be an opportunity for you to create a new range where you can grow your business, and that's also where your agency is there to support you and say, you know what, you want to do that. There is a demand for that because social media is showing those numbers, and therefore you can engage in it, or it's not, and drop the idea. So yeah, there are lots of possibilities, but having the social media data at your hands and the insights, this is really powerful. It allows you to grow your business in any way possible and the right way, so without the trial and error part.
Perfect, thank you. What's your opinion, Nikita?
Yeah, speaking about social media and power to grow your business, I suppose that they all rely on a cool feeling of self-confidence and self-determination. For example, do you think that you are a cool marketer?
Not really. Pretty boring.
Okay, what about you?
I'm not really a marketer.
You're a
I'm
cool
more into
marketer.
business
I
growth.
suppose you're a cool marketer? Okay, who are cool marketer? Come on, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You are a cool marketer. And you too. I remember my friend on LinkedIn. Now you're a cool marketer. My psychology marketer right after behind you. Okay, guys, but of course, 10 cool marketers in this area. But do your clients know that you are great marketers? Are you sure? Have you asked them? So every day you call your clients, do you still remember that I'm great marketer? It is a very cool issue because maybe we all are superstars of marketing in our homelands or in countries where do we live, in Eastern Europe, in Asia, in Africa. But when we try to penetrate to new markets, to local markets, we all become no names, anonymous, just strange guys who tell people that they're great marketers. So, and now we should try to persuade people that we still are great brands or great agencies on which side we are. And that is why we all must be sure that clients believe us. Actually, that is why I always try to tell you about context. We all should set context. That is why I ask you all to tell a few things about you. Because maybe half of this area, half of these people look at us, 4 strange people on stage are going to teach us something. And actually, it's a very cool issue to try to find information about you on new markets. I suppose that there are people who like reading, and many of you received magazine about this conference yesterday. Have you checked it? I tried to find information about myself. Nothing. No Nikita on this conference. I called host, guys, where is information about me? Nikita, you're cool enough, you will present yourself. Okay, maybe they don't like my picture, I don't know. But that is why I have to tell you every day, Nikita reputation line, Nikita reputation line. And I suppose that it is really great way for business and for agencies to remind people, hello, I'm a brand, I do this and this, and I'm great because of such issues. So guys, remind your clients that you're great marketers. And if you help other brands, ask brands to remind to customers about themselves. Because sometimes we all can be trapped in cool feeling of self-confidence, but maybe our client don't believe us. Yo.
How would you recommend we do that?
First of all, please tell them that you are a great marketer. Come on, do it. Now.
Okay, I'm a great marketer.
Whoa, it is the beginning of
Okay,
self-PR.
But how would we do that with the clients? What would you recommend?
First of all, social networks and their own websites. We almost all of us are being mentioned in ratings, in reviews. I really gather the whole archive of my mentions in internet, and I also do the same for my clients. They are being mentioned in a review, okay, screenshot, video. They are being mentioned somewhere in a rating, okay, screenshot, video. And I always make my clients to take part in all ratings, in all surveys, because this way they all can become superstars of any market. Sometimes it is an issue. You know that in the end of every year, in every country, there are different contests. Best car of the year, best mobile phone of the year. And who are these brands who win in these ratings? The only way to win is to try to take part on it. If even you get second place, third place, you are still awardee. You cannot mention third place, but awardee, it's also a cool way. So don't be shy. Actually, I don't believe in such things like shy people, introvert. I suppose it's something about our laziness. Sometimes I'm also very lazy. I hate to wake up early in the morning. I don't think why this conference start at 9 o'clock. Come on, why not
It's
10?
the difference in time.
Yes,
Come on.
11, 12 will be better. Come on. But I suppose that we all should remind people every time, every day about ourselves. I like to read my WhatsApp after such conferences because there are several colleagues. One of them are still in this room. He sent me messages at 3 a.m. in the night today, this night. Nikita, this is your name from conference. In the night? Serious? Come on, seriously. But I remember him. He reminded me about himself. So maybe it is challenging for people, but yes, brands and people should remind about themselves every year, every day, every week.
Thank you, Nikita. I'm very happy that you speak from self-confident because our clients would like to work with someone who is self-confident, who has a strong brand. And it is so important for us. Perhaps an experience from my side. From time to time, I analyze cases, crisis cases. So I analyze companies who has really big crisis, and I wrote a story about that. I give advice in my stories, and this is perfect because these companies wrote me back. It's like, wow, thank you, Jeannette. Thank you for for this, for sharing your knowledge, and it's for nothing. They paid nothing, but after the crisis, they call me. Okay, now we have a damaged brand. Could you please come and yeah, and so and so, and so. If you would like to have a good brand from yourself, you have to give without a factory, no, without paying. You give from your heart, and then the clients see that and think, wow, that's cool. And next days after I analyze cases from companies in crisis, also the media call me. Wow, that's interesting. You have an interesting point of view. We would like to make interviews. We would like to make. We would like to have a statement, and so you build also brands.
Okay, let's talk about media. Actually, a very cool issue. We have 7 minutes to go, and I suppose that in 2-3 minutes, our super host will ask us to start Q&A session. Let's end up with talking about media and mass media. Guys, how do you think? If we are not great brands, yes, we are great brands and great agencies, but if we are not great brands, how can we attract the attention of mass media and influencers?
I think trying to find the core of the trend at that moment, I think, is because mass media is always running after what people are running after. So if you tap into that conversation, I started a public health awareness campaign at the start of COVID back in Pakistan, just a bunch of like you college students coming together. We have to make a public health awareness. How do we reach out to media? The So there are two things. One is obviously to tap. We were lucky because our campaign was about COVID, and COVID was the big thing at the moment. But the second most important thing is to give them the content before asking them to write content about you. So we got like 6 7 students who knew how to write, and we were like, write news stories, write press releases, write articles, write features about what we are doing right now in the tone of voice of that news outlet, and then
Do
we
you pay
just
for
pitched
it?
it.
Do you pay them for it?
They were all volunteers. So it was an all volunteer health awareness campaign. No money involved. We just wrote that copy, sent it to a bunch of newspapers, and ended up with clips in first in local newspapers, then in regional newspapers, and then eventually ended up in BBC, Dutch Well, so on. So it's about creating content before asking them for it, and then no matter how big or small you are, you will end up seeing the limelight. Like you said, most people are lazy. Do their work for them, and they'll run it for you.
What about you? Publications in Forbes?
No, not really. I'd say make it like original, quite an experience, because influencers get, requests every day. So know your brand well, make it unique, even if it's a small brand, and try to understand who that influencer is. Don't tackle everyone. You don't want to work with everyone. Just make sure that influencer has the right niche for you. And that's how you can just put your brand in a very beautiful experience that will attract them. They would be willing to do it for free, even if they get paid like hundreds of thousands of dollars. The second, where you show them that you really care about them, you understand what they do, they would feel unique and they would do it for free. So I'd go for
Very
a great
cool.
experience.
Jeannette, when will we see your interview? Somewhere?
So attract more attention from the mass media. So I told you my experience, and for me the important thing is to serve their topics from the mass media, and also for their target group, and then you have your goal.
Okay. We unfortunately we haven't argued. I don't know why, but we always just argue. Don't do it. We have argued. Thank you for it. I can offer you my strategy. I really like my ego because maybe my ego is much more important for me than my health. Maybe it's not okay. Maybe that is why I'm twice divorced. Maybe it is the reason. But I have my own strategy. I have created a list of marketing mass media in almost all countries of the world. Actually, of course, I haven't done it. My assistant has done for me, and I pay him for them. And my own task, I created one article every week. My plan: one article, one article, one article, and then we just send this article to one after one, one after one, one after one. So in a year, this way, I will be able to gather from 50 up to 80 publications every year. And in 2 or 3 years, this way you will be able to gather enough content for your book. Whoa, book published on Amazon. And someday people can find one very interesting issue. The whole Google, the whole Yandex is fulfilled with articles of marketing superstar. And after that, Forbes will call you one day, some days, but they will call you. This morning I was delighted by a lady who was speaker. She has her face on a cover. I make a picture. I have never been on cover of Forbes. They have 13 my publications, but where is cover? Maybe I should call them. So, speaking about laziness, maybe all marketing agencies and brands should create their own list of articles which they can create as their own list of mass media which can get their publication. And this way, mass media will not have any chance to ignore us. Guys, we have 2 minutes to go. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. You have yep, you're welcome. Where is coffee? Where is food? I know question.
Hi, this is Prabha. Thank you for your insightful discussion. I just have one question. How do a brand or a company with multiple services position themselves in a digital world? Because I can give you a little explanation. Any clients or any person who's coming onto the digital space to look at one particular product or one particular thing that he requires to know about. When he comes in, I can't put myself, our company, in a way that he has to spend 20 minutes of his time reading all the services and then coming to that point. So now, how do we position these multiple services as one brand in this digital world?
Brilliant question. Thank you for it. Maybe it is the best question of this day. Really, I think so. Because it is question of real man from real brand. You have faced that situation, right?
Exactly.
Yes. I can offer my experience because we have clients with many industries, with many offices. I always ask such companies to own one person who will be in charge of this business. And we sometimes with this person or this person send us a list. Tasks for one country, tasks for other country, tasks for this industry, tasks for another industry. And we create very clear schedule and calendar of tasks for every industry. Because if you don't do it, in 1 year, maybe in several months, you will get a mail, you don't do anything. You are very bad guy. So clear task, clear plan, and one responsible man. Maybe it can be you. It's a very cool position. Any ideas?
Can I ask you, are your services very diversified?
Not exactly. The work that would be required to produce that product or a service is same, but it is in a different formats.
Why does a person need to
I'll
read
give you
about it
example of my
online?
company. We are into medical communications. So in this, we kind of produce publications. That is one format that we produce. Other thing is we do some kind of 3D medical animations. And other thing, we also develop disease awareness websites. So these are three different formats and three different things. A person coming to look at who develops website in this particular area, I cannot position myself as a website designing
Yes, because
company.
these are three different kind of
Exactly,
services, so
yeah.
they are completely different. Why are you trying to put them all together? Because the
uh,
person who's going to come to you to have a website, he
Because
might
of
be interested.
budgets, I
No,
suppose.
yeah, he might be interested in another service. That's true. But if you're going to come and tell him, I do this and that before you address the website, he's going to go away because you didn't understand what he's asking for.
Yeah,
So
that's
maybe
exactly
you need to
my
just address each one on its own and focus on having a different service, maybe as well a different website for each one of them. And try to get the clients to call you instead of waiting, or reading information online, because it's going to be hard for you to cross-sell these services together. But yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions from the audience? And I just want to pull up a couple of points on the influencer marketing and brands working influencers, because we have a terrible time here in the UAE because people don't check the backgrounds of their influencers, they don't check the niches that they fall into, and they don't check whether their followers are authentic. I'll give you an example. A prominent local businessman yesterday put on his story, "Yay, I've just celebrated 650,000 followers." Went onto Social Blade, which I always use to check people, bought 400,000 followers overnight. And this is someone that's verified as well, right? And also, as a journalist and someone that's worked in print media and broadcast media, the amount of times we get sent press releases and we sit there and we go, so what, who cares? File under B for bin, because it's completely irrelevant to us. And these are just common mistakes that people constantly make. So really it's up to brands and clients and agencies to be doing a lot more due diligence than they are, and to know their media and their influencers.
But there's more awareness in there, and brands are more careful with whom they want to work. So I had a brand once tell me, I don't want to work with that lady because that's like a supermarket. So she has everything in her stories and I don't want to see my brand there. So I think influencers need really to look into that as well. And because they're losing lots of business, I'm very sure that. And eventually it's a matter of time. So that's the market. I mean, when the supply is going to decrease, they're going to realize that they have to change the strategy.
I'd love to see the platforms removing the verifications and the fake followers. Thank you so much to our panelists. Great
Thank you.
discussion. I love that. Thank you so much, guys. Fantastic. And of course, we do have our last set of awards to give out for the end of the day. And we've had some fantastic sessions today. Lots of interesting stuff. So I hope we learned a lot. I hope we made some great connections. And I've got some great collaborations and cooperations coming up. And exciting stuff. I've really enjoyed all our sessions today. So thank you so much to all our speakers and panelists. Thanks, ladies and gents. Thank you so much. Fantastic.